elimination of a tax on firearm silencers and short barrel rifles and shotguns that would cost $1.7 billion. That would be a lot of families that we could feed with the SNAP program. 396,000 families could be fed with just what they're giving away for the silencers, right? The mafia tax, I don't know.
SBRs.
Suppressors.
I forgot my line. Anyway, all right. SBRs.
Suppressors.
Where do we stand, Alyssa?
Who knows?
You know what's gayer than Pride Month?
You?
The government, Alyssa.
True.
The government.
That's a good answer. Starting with the very beginning, we have the HPA, the Hearing Protection Act, and the Short Act. We're trying to get those into the big, beautiful bill, Trump's bill that he's trying to get on his desk by July 4th.
Special day for the British, I hear. They celebrate that day. It's one of their favorite days.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a big British holiday. They put beans on toast for it.
The Hearing Protection Act, HPA. It basically takes suppressors off of the NFA, which is the National Firearms Act. Unconstitutional, but we won't get into that too much. But basically, so it takes away the $200 tax stamp, and it also takes away the registry of the suppressors.
Sounds like a sweet deal every American would be stoked about.
Sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let me guess, government done screwed it up, huh?
Yeah.
Freaking gay government.
But the Short Act basically does that same thing, but with short-barreled rifles and short-barreled shotguns.
Beautiful. Because we all know SBRs are the true way that God intended rifles to be designed. I mean, look at this thing. It's absolutely gorgeous. This triangle is certainly not as cool as this triangle, all right, people? We all can agree on that. Look at that. That triangle's got that, and this has that. Ew. No, keep your fabric off my triangle. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway.
So let's talk about the timeline of events here. So the HPA Act originally was concepted, I think, back in Trump's first presidency, around that time. And this was a time, again, that we had a lot of momentum, kind of similar thing happening to what's going on right now. And this bill is introduced. I can't remember exactly if it was a part of another bill or if it was a standalone, but anyway, completely rejected because it has to do with guns and guns are scary and blah, blah, blah. So, you know, Republicans and pretty much everyone at the time who's on, you know, the gun side of things knew that it was going to be really hard to get stuff repealed from the NFA to begin with. But this big, beautiful bill is kind of a black hole for bills. It is creating so much gravity around it that it is sucking in anything to do with budgetary concerns or taxation, right?
I mean, it's almost 900 pages.
It's huge.
Long.
It's a massive bill. It's got a lot into it. It is a great prime opportunity to throw something in there that has to do with taxes. And lo and behold, the NFA was instituted as a tax. It was originally invented as a tax to catch criminals.
Well, not to catch criminals.
Basically be a mechanism for government.
To make it harder to own these things.
Well, it's also a mechanism for the government to arrest mafia members. So if they can't catch them on the charges, they can catch them on a possession of a firearm that's illegal, hence the NFA exists, right? That's the reason why it was. Al Capone was caught by tax evasion. Keep that in mind. The IRS will get you. Yeah. So the NFA was originally institutionalized to catch, to basically be a crime stopper to mafia members or a backdoor way to have a mechanism to throw crime members in jail. So that's why it's a huge, huge fine and a massive penalty with 10 years in prison for, you know, if I had my triangles, I'd bring them back up. But if you have a different triangle than the other triangle you're supposed to have, you can land yourself 10 years in prison because that makes sense and government's gay. So fast forward to 2025, the HPA Act is back again, but this time being thrown into the big, beautiful bill. And why is it being thrown into a reconciliation bill? Well, it's easier to pass budget reconciliation bills than standalone bills, especially when those bills have to do with firearms.
And that is because you just need a simple majority in order for the bill to pass
Correct.
for the reconciliation bill.
And other bills aren't
You
as
need
simple as
60 votes, I believe.
Yikes, that sucks. So, anyway, here we are today with the big beautiful bill, the budget reconciliation bill. Now, at this time, the HPA Act is in the bill. Another act gets added in for SBRs, and this is called the Short Act, okay? So the Short Act is now in the bill with the HPA Act. What both of these bills do is pretty much the same thing. Suppressors off the NFA, SBRs off the NFA. They are both in the bill going to the House, right? And it was a battle to get both of those in there. Now it's in the House.
The Short Act is actually taken out of the bill, and so the HPA is the only thing left in the bill.
Mm-hmm.
It actually passes the House and then goes to the Senate.
A group of senators got together to add the bill back in, the Short Act bill, after it being taken away by the House. Now, there's a period of time in which things can be amended or added to the bill in between the House and the Senate. Both Short Act and HPA are both added back into the big beautiful bill after only the HPA passes the House, right? So it gets really confusing from here, guys, if it wasn't already confusing enough. So now the big beautiful bill is on its way to the Senate. Before it reaches the Senate, it has to go through the Senate Parliamentarian. Now, this person is an unelected official that's been in office for 12 years and obviously has a bias against firearms. Why do I say that? Well, she removes the HPA and Short Act single-handedly from the bill using the Byrd Rule, which is a rule that says if it doesn't pertain to the overall bill, then it has to get rejected or ejected. Budget bill. So it has to get ejected. Well, in fact, the NFA is a tax and has to do with budget, right? Taxes have to do with budget. So she doesn't know what she's talking about because she basically said that a tax isn't a tax and has nothing to do with taxes. Completely incorrect, completely wrong, but there's still a saving grace here. A lot of Republican senators rewrote the bill to basically exclude the removal from the NFA but include a removal of the $200. I'm going to say that again. They basically made the tax stamp $0 instead of removing the tax stamp completely. This new reprise bill gets passed to the Senate Parliamentarian again, and she accepts it. She's very dumb, very stupid, should be fired. Elizabeth, if you're watching this, you should be fired. If the Senate leader, I can't remember your name, I called you. Thum, you should fire her.
Something like that.
Because she doesn't know what she's doing, and she doesn't know that the stupid NFA is a tax, and government's gay. So, anyway, now we're in the Senate. Today is when the Senate voted on the big beautiful bill.
So now that it has gone through the Senate, because there were amendments made, it now has to go back to the House to be approved through them, basically one more time with these new revisions. So today, we were even watching the House Rules Committee. They were meeting. It's been like 10 hours so far, and they're still going. So
God bless their souls. Aren't they just wonderful?
I feel bad, but at the same time, I don't.
I don't. I pay taxes.
Yeah,
and I'm pissed. I still have to do stupid tax stamps.
Yeah.
The paperwork is what pissed me off. I could care less about the money. Honestly, the money's nice, but like the paperwork.
Yeah. Anyway, it's in the House. Tomorrow is what I heard, that they should be voting on this. And I heard that they might not allow any amendments at this point and just vote a simple, like, yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
There still might be amendments that are thrown in there. We'll see.
At the time of the recording, this bill is likely going to pass, and it is July 1st. Yeah, so it's July 1st, 9 p.m., 10 p.m. at night. We're tired. It is currently going to probably pass with just the removal of the $200. So you still have to get a stamp stamp, all the paperwork, all the non-fun shit that you have to do, all that's in there. Yay! But you don't lose $200, so that's a benefit.
If this currently goes through how the language currently is, like you said, $200 goes to $0. Everything is basically the same. And then there's also a 90-day period, so this won't take effect until 90 days later, which if it does get to Trump by July 4th, then we're looking at like October, beginning of October, end of September.
Yeah.
But that'll depend on what day it officially passes.
Yep.
So what happens moving forward after that if this does pass?
Yeah, so we wanted to talk about how you should prepare as a consumer who might be interested in SBRs and suppressors. And quite honestly, I can talk on SBRs. I feel like you have some opinions on suppressors, but I'll just say I wouldn't worry too much about SBRs. Honestly, I don't think much is going to change. Where's my beautiful plastics? Yeah, pistol braces have kind of made SBRs just an aesthetics thing rather than a functionality thing. Yes, it's nice to have stocks, not gonna lie, but I would definitely register whatever you got. If you've got a bunch of pistols laying around, if you're not worried about being on the government registry,
That's what I was gonna say.
okay, absolutely, cool guy factor is 100. All right, it's very cool. You can role play COD, which is great, and you look cool in front of your friends.
We know what he cares about.
I mean, that's why we're here. I'm living out my G.I. Joe dreams, baby. But anyway, I honestly, personal preference, you're not missing out on the whole SBR if you got a pistol brace. Just saying, it's a cool guy thing. Feel free, get on the government registry. Everyone you know is probably a government spy, so...
I'm a psyop. Anyway, so as far as suppressors, I think there's going to be a surge of people buying suppressors if this goes through, because this removing or changing the $200 tax stamp to a $0 tax stamp is basically just going to decrease that barrier of entry, decrease that financial burden.
Commitment. We all know you're afraid of commitments.
And we're going to see an increase in demand. Will the supply keep up? I don't know, because the thing is, we've seen an increase in demand when the wait times of the ATF were simply just decreased dramatically. So I am a little worried about the supply. So that'll be...
I will say some companies are taking the 90-day period from when that gets signed till when the tax stamp gets dropped, because hardly anybody's going to buy suppressors at that period, right? So they're going to take that time and stockpile as many cans as possible. And it's basically...
If they're smart, they will.
Basically going to be a fourth quarter rush, all right? So yeah, just kind of prepare for that. If I were a company listening in on this and was like, oh shoot, I didn't think about that, I'd think about that. It's kind of important. It's kind of a big deal. It's kind of a thing that happens with supply and demand.
You just don't want to miss out on that revenue, right?
Yeah.
We'll see kind of where that takes us. We'll see if this language even passes. But I do think if it does with the current language, then there will be an increase in demand. So be smart, save up, be prepared for that. Know what you want to get before that time comes and everything is sold out.
Yep.
So if this will be your first time buying a suppressor, then I would recommend something more versatile, because you have so many suppressors out there on the market right now. It is flooded. I feel like every single company is making suppressors at this point.
Yep.
And there are some that are focused on the sound suppression. There are different ways to make and manufacture these suppressors. Don't want to say too much. And so,
it rhymes with PD minting. We can't say it.
We are
but
in.
You know it.
We're in YouTube jail right now, kind of, almost. Warnings,
yeah.
but we are trying to be careful. I think that pretty much sums everything up.
Thank you to our Patreons, because you're our sponsors for this episode.
Oh, we don't have a list. We have some Patreons.
Yeah, look them up.
We are just shouting out the highest tier, which is Glenn White. Thank you.
Everybody, give it a shout out for Glenn in the comments below. Glenn, you're a legend, man.
All right, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next episode.
Government's gay and retarded.
You're gay and retarded. Your
Mom's gay and retarded.